Today, this is part one of a four-part series of the Carnegie Historical Museum in Fairfield, Iowa. And Bob, tell them what we're going to see in this episode.
First stop is going to be the Herring Gallery, and Jake Schmdit will be giving us a tour of that with more information.
And Jake is the director and curator of this fine facility. And this episode is brought to you by Griner Auto Body of Washington, Iowa, using state-of-the-art techniques and decades of experience to get your car back on the road after an accident. Car Doctor of Washington, Iowa, no matter who Frankensteined it, they can fix and clean and customize it. McDonald Boneyard of Keota, Iowa, for all your farm equipment and auto recycling needs. Hinshaw Trailer Sales of Richland, Iowa. You need a trailer, they've got your trailer, and they fix what they sell and don't in their full-time repair shop. Girling Repair of Winfield, Iowa. If your mower is dead, call Fred, your Husqvarna, Aaron's, and Gravely dealer, and he also fixes and sells snow blowers. B&B Propane and the family of Jet Stops, and Blue Dog Lawn Care of Wayland, Iowa, for all of your residential and commercial lawn care needs. And when the snow starts flying and dumping in your driveway and your sidewalks, they'll take care of that for you as well. They all present Southeast Iowa today. I'm John Bain, author of Christie's Journey, The Beat Goes On, and your host. Bob, let's get inside.
Let's go.
Jake, we are in the Herring Gallery of the Carnegie Historical Museum here in Fairfield, Iowa. And you gave Bob, there you are.
Hello.
Bob and I a tour here before we started rolling the camera. And Bob and I were like, where do we start? And we're talking to you and you go, well, where do you want to start? And Bob said, let's start downstairs.
Yeah,
so
there's a lot to see here.
Yeah, so tell the folks what we've got here in this gallery.
So in this lower gallery, we have the history of Jefferson County and Fairfield. It kind of takes each section, and it starts where we got our name, the Bonneville family, and tells you a little bit about them, that name Fairfield. Also, we have everything from municipality. We broke it down to City Hall, Fire Department, Courthouse, and so forth in here. It has our first breath analyzer from 1959. 60, and also our first mugshot camera, so forth, here in Jefferson County. And then it takes you into the sections of all 12 townships in Jefferson County. It tells you which towns are in each township, and there was at one time 99 rural one-room schoolhouses.
In Jefferson County?
In Jefferson County. No kid was to walk more than 1.5 miles each way to school. And that was in the 1800s, and that lasted up to about 1960, 61, was when they consolidated all the schools and got rid of those at that time.
That's incredible.
And then also it tells you the population from 1840 all the way through to 2020 of Jefferson County and the city of Fairfield and how it grew over time.
And what is the population currently?
Right around 10,000.
10,000?
It's currently, yeah, in the town of Fairfield. Also, we have larger companies like Dexter Corporation has been here since 1911. Also, we have Universal Corporation that's no longer here, but was here for decades. They started their history on making plays, writing plays, directing plays, making the costumes and so forth. And then by the time TV came out, they started switching over to, because no one wanted the plays any longer, they switched over to what we remember as kids going to Target or Kmart. Yes, to get these suit bags and so forth. They were made from the same sewing machines that the ladies were making the costumes for.
Right here in Fairfield.
Right here in Fairfield. That switched over. And then also we had Fairfield Glove. It was very large here from 1905 until about 5 years ago. It went out of business. And it's interesting because the building was originally built as Fairfield Furniture Factory. That was in 1880.
And this is a model of that?
This is a model of that and built in the 1800s. And then that's a photograph up there too. And then in 1901, they went out of business. And then in 1905, Fairfield Glove bought it. And it's interesting too, we found in the building, one of our people on our board did, this is a thank you letter from Admiral Byrd in 1929. When James Byrd went to the South Pole, all the gloves were given to him as a gift from Fairfield Glove for that expedition.
Now I want to zoom in. This, ladies and gentlemen, is actually on the top signature is Admiral Byrd's signature, correct?
Yep.
That's amazing.
Then over here we have our transportation section. We broke it down to the 2 railroads that went through Fairfield, the 4 locations of the Fairfield Airport over the years, also Charter Oak Company, which is called the Joel Turner and Company. They made wagons, heavy duty wagons here in Jefferson County, and also the stagecoach and all the cars in Fairfield, and also the very first car in Fairfield, Dr. James Clark in 1903.
And I want to zoom in on that. We're going through some glass, but there he is, 1903, Dr. James Clark, first automobile in Fairfield. There was no heater in that.
Oh no.
I mean, it's all open carriage, basically. That was a horseless carriage right there.
Yes, it was.
That's amazing.
And then we get into communications section. We have the first telephone for Parsons College, and we have the second switchboard ever in Fairfield's history.
So right here,
Yes.
that's the first telephone
For Parsons.
for Parsons College.
Yep.
How important was that?
Well, it was the way to communicate with everybody else at that time.
Yes. And then you had a switchboard. Where was this switchboard located?
That switchboard was over here on 2nd Street, but we found it in the building up in the attic. It was in the attic, and it was just one of the many things that we find in the attic here. It's just so full of treasures. It's interesting, too, when we have little kids take tours, we try to have them call their mom and dad on the phone. They have no idea how to do it on a rotary phone.
Yeah. Well, you know, I was born, I'm an old guy now. I was born in 1966. So right now, this is 2024. I'm 58 years old. And that was our telephone, folks, like that. Or we had a thin one, but it had a rotary dial. And then we got fancy and got push buttons. But I can relate to this this setup of, what do you call this again? The operator switchboard.
The switchboard, yeah.
I can remember as a kid watching a show called Laugh-In, and Lily Tomlin played a telephone operator, and they would talk, and she was just kind of slow and monotone, and she would go, 1 ringy dingy, 2 ringy dingies, and
That's classic.
yeah, and it was something that my dad got a bigger kick out of it than us kids did, and he would always bug us about it.
Sarah from Mayberry was probably the most well-known
Yeah.
switchboard operator that you never saw.
Exactly. Andy or Barney would call, "Hey Sarah, get me Floyd's barbershop."
Exactly.
Yeah.
We also go through our media from our radio station into the history of all the newspapers. Then also you get over here to this section, it's the banking section. This is the first banker in Fairfield's history. This is Bernhardt Hinn. And he had a bank from 1851 called Hinn Williams and Company. He passed away at 47 years old from pneumonia, and his wife didn't want the house. The house was given later on to Parsons College in 1875 as the president's office, and the first building for Parsons College, and it still stands on Maharishi International University today.
I'll be darned.
So over here is some other things we try to document. We're just working on one by one all the different manufacturers in Fairfield history. We had 32 cigar manufacturers. Most of us never even knew this until recently.
Cigar manufacturer.
Yes,
Wow.
cigar manufacturers, and we're small compared to other towns around.
Now, did they didn't grow the tobacco here?
No, there was only one person that ever grew tobacco here. It was 1871, and they didn't have a very good turnout. So that's the only time we've ever found out in the credit or information at the.
So the tobacco would have come on rail?
It did. It all came on rail from Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Connecticut. It said in the 1921 newspaper in Fairfield.
Wow,
So
that's incredible.
also we have things like all our schools and who they were, where they were from, where they were located at, I should say.
I got to show this 1997 Fairfield High School state champions distance medley relay. I bet those folks are still around.
They are. Brian, one of them there, he's right. He's on our sheriff's department.
I'll be darned. That is cool.
Also, this is the hotels and motels of Fairfield's history. Also, other company like Harper Brush Corporation was here for 123 years.
We got to show that.
Yep, that's right over there.
Harper Brush Works. I mean, how many brooms like this did they manufacture over the years? Yeah, millions.
Amazing.
I mean, anytime you would probably see one of these, they were probably made from
Yes.
here.
Mr. Harper was very picky about how everything went together. It's interesting to have people come in. We've had a lot of class reunions, and when they come in, they tell people who worked there, they knew him, how he was very meticulous on wanting everything just right so it had the best quality. So
It's incredible.
All our churches are represented right here over the history, and then you can go through more things for the history of Parsons College.
And tell us a little bit about Parsons College.
So Parsons College was established here as a Presbyterian college in 1875, and it was established here, and it went till 1973, and then college folded. The next year, in 1974, Maharishi International University was established here, and they've been here this year for 50 years.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah. And then we go into other divisions of the town, which is a Walton Club, Country Club history, more of the entertainment history.
I got to zoom in on this picture
Yes.
a little bit. They knew how to party back in 1959, didn't they? Look at the costumes. That's crazy.
Really crazy.
Yeah.
Service clubs, that changes every 6 months. Right now it's on the Rotary Club and their history. It started in 1921 here in Fairfield.
That's amazing. Now, Jake, I want to wrap up this portion of the segment, but I don't want the audience to go anywhere. Okay. But when we come back, I want to go in depth a little more on how many different clubs there are, how many churches there were and are still to this day, and just a little more in depth on a couple different things.
Sounds
so
great.
We'll wrap this segment up. Bob, what's going on here?
Humerus leg bone from a fossilized mastodon. Even back then, they had funny bones.
Okay, Jake, we had taken a little break, and I said when we got back, let's talk a little bit about the churches that have been in Fairfield and maybe some that are still are. I want to look at the picture here of the different churches, and if you can just tell us a little bit, just kind of name off some of them. And
Yeah, so we have a lot of them here. A Presbyterian church, and we also have a Methodist church. The newest one was built in 1924, 100 years ago this year. The Catholic church. Also, we had an AME church here for a while in Fairfield. The New English Lutheran church, that still stands. That's over on Briggs Street. And also the Christian church, that's now a place you can rent for receptions and so forth like that. One of them that's interesting is the Christian Science Church. That one of the big movers and shakers in the community was Rollin Wilson. Rollin Wilson was Senator Wilson's son. He was the fourth president of First National Bank from 1906 to 1928 when he passed away. But he was huge about getting the Christian Science Church into here, and also he was very strong about temperance. And so it's a lot of stories on him.
so the connection with the gentleman you mentioned
Rollin Wilson.
and this building.
Yes, it's interesting because his father, Senator Wilson, James Wilson, he knew Andrew Carnegie personally because he was serving as a senator from 1861 to 1895, and that was in Washington, D.C., and he started under Lincoln. And he knew Carnegie, and he asked for a library in 1886, and that's how we ended up with this building in 1892, but we were given the rights to it in 1886.
And for the folks that may think they know everything about Andrew Carnegie and his donations to basically the country and the world,
Yes.
they may not know this.
Well, this is the very first of all Andrew Carnegie endowed libraries. There's 1,689 in the United States. There's 2,500 worldwide, and this is the very first of all of them.
And what we're going to do, we're going to wrap up this episode, and then we're going to work our way upstairs and talk more about those two men and how that happened, that Fairfield, Iowa was chosen for the very first. But before we do that, in this gallery, if there was one thing we should show people on this video segment to entice them to come to Fairfield to see that's in this room, is there anything that we should show them at this point, Jay?
And this one, there's just really an overall view of Fairfield. Yeah. It's kind of interesting, especially if you were ever connected with Jefferson County and Fairfield. this is where you come back to get the reflections of the past. But it's interesting how many manufacturers we don't even know yet, and we're up to almost 90 different manufacturers, from anything from a jelly factory to, we've had so many different foundries in this town and so forth. But just come in and see all those different things that's documented in here.
All right, Bob, this day tripping episode right here in Southeast Iowa, you've hit a home run, sir.
It's an incredible place, and you've got to visit it to believe it, because you won't see everything on these episodes.
All right, well, we're going to wrap up this episode, and we'll do another one real soon, and you folks stay tuned to the platform, and you will see it. Thanks, Jake. It's an amazing place here. Bob, would you agree with that?
Lots more to see, though.
That is, there sure is. This was part 1 of a 4-part series. Stay tuned for part 2. Thank you for watching. Thanks to our sponsors, Griner Auto Body, Car Doctor, McDonald Boneyard, Hinshaw Trailer Sales, Girling Repair, B&B Propane and the family of Jet Stops, and Blue Dog Lawn Care. He's Bob DeWitt. I'm your host, John Bain. Stay friendly, Southeast Iowa.